Devil Dog underscore 88. We are going live. Let's have that conversation. So, we want to talk about facts versus opinion in the Nancy Guthrie case. We want to talk about what are some probable facts versus probable opinions. Now, everybody can have an opinion, and that doesn't make it wrong. There's no problem having opinions. But we have to know what exactly is factual to understand what are we going for and how are we going to try to make sense by what information we get from the Pima County Sheriff's Office and or the FBI, because the reality is that we need to know, what are we basing our information on? Where is that information coming from? What is it? Where does it stand? Where does it fit? Or are we leading ourselves into a rabbit hole because we think one thing when it's really not? And you have to understand, everybody's opinion matters. But facts are what gets us right where we want to be when it comes to where is Nancy Guthrie or who could have done this. The plausibility of what could have happened. And the only way we're going to know this is if we're able to distinguish the two. Spo's in the house. Hello, DD. Good to have you. Bill's in the house. Good afternoon, Bill. So that's what we want to talk about, because we have to understand what is a fact. And let's be honest, we're not getting a whole lot of facts from anybody, right? We're not getting facts from a whole lot of people. And the little bit of facts we got are very, very minute, without a doubt. Alyssa, hi everyone. Good to have you, Alyssa. So that's what this chat's going to be about. This stream is about understanding where we can all come to a certain view, what really is a fact, and how do we parse in the two to not get confused and be led into the weeds. And we know what? We may not be able, at the end of the day, when we get done, to really see what is a fact. We may not get there because we won't have enough information, right? And that's okay. And opinions is great because it gives us ideas. Theories is great because it gives us a possibility, okay? So theories and opinions and views all help to be able to think outside that box. Paige is in the house. Good to have you, Paige. Good to have you. Carolina girl, hello everybody. So that's what this is all about. Facts versus opinions. You could say facts versus ideas, not so much ideas, but suggestions. Not so much suggestions, but theories. Facts versus, really what we really don't have much about. So let's start that conversation. Our first beginning of day one, we got, and this is going to be sometimes difficult because you're going to be going back and forth trying to figure out exactly what it is that makes it that fact. Okay? That you're going to figure that out, that it's going to be kind of confusing, and we'll go back and forth. But believe me, this is all, you guys are smart. You'll be able to navigate and figure this out. Okay? So here we go. At the beginning, we know what? We know Nancy is missing. That's a fact, right? That is a fact. Clear cut day. We can all agree Nancy is missing. We can't really call it what it is because we don't know what it is at this point. But we know she's missing. Okay? That's a fact. Correct? Everybody good with that? One for yes, two for no. Everybody good with that? Nancy is missing. I think it's fair to say that's a fact. Okay. So now we were told at the beginning, we were told literally at the beginning that the Uber driver dropped Nancy off, picked her up from her house, and dropped her off at Annie and Tommaso's. Now, there's a lot of in the middle stuff there, right? So I'm not sure how you guys feel about what is fact on that comment right there. An Uber was called by someone that literally took Nancy to Annie and Tommaso's for apparently a dinner and or to play games. Is that a fact? Or is that just theorizing? Or is that just minutia in the air? And I want to hear your all's opinion because I want to know so that we all know where to proceed. Is that a fact? What say you? Jump right in, channel. Jump right in. Soaring. I don't think it was Nancy in the car. Okay. Could we prove that it was Nancy in the car? Do we have any information to prove that it was or wasn't Nancy in the car? Do we have any proof? It was confirmed by LE, so yes. Okay, so they confirmed that what, Paige? What did they confirm? We're going to break this down. What did they confirm exactly? Video evidence is the proof. Okay, and we have it, video evidence? Do we have video evidence? We saw it. Are you all good with that? Did you all see the video? I believe it's true. Believe though. See, that's what we want to break this down. So, did we see a video? Yes or no? Song is saying no. Pace is saying LE has a video evidence from Uber. Where are we going to stay? And this is not going to be an argument and all this garbage. This is just trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure this out because the better we understand each other as to where we're at, that's how we're going to be able to move on the next step. Pace says no, we didn't see a video. So we just heard that they had a video, correct? Spo, because it's hard to say because we only know what they tell us, right? No doubt. So we didn't see a video. But LE has confirmed that they have a video, but we just didn't see it. Carolina girl, we don't have video evidence, but the Uber driver supposedly does. Did we ever see that video? Has anybody heard of an interview with the Uber driver stating he has video or he gave it to LE? Pace says yes. LE's statement says video evidence, yes. Okay. Well, these are some of the things that complicate this whole case. Because on one hand, LE is saying this, and on the other hand, we as the people haven't seen it. So then there comes some, what do we really believe? So we have to assume, and there's that word assume, always means that it's not for sure, right? We have to believe, if we believe law enforcement, we would have to take it at their word that they have evidence. We haven't seen it. Norma, Good afternoon, DD, and a beautiful Chad. Good afternoon. Welcome in. So, at some point, we have to be able to either trust what Ellie is saying or we have to disprove it to what they are saying. Follow me? So, either if Ellie says we have a video from the Uber driver, the only way to disprove that is to find something that disproves that statement, right? Because we can't just do away with everything Ellie says, because then who in the hell is running the case, right? So there has to be something of a give and take here. So let's say, for all sake of purposes, if LE says they have it, that should be good enough. And if we don't think they have it, we have to show why we believe that we don't believe that. Okay? Let's say that, just for the ground rules. Let's say that if we don't believe the LE is telling us the truth, then we have to give reasons why we don't believe that. Fair enough? Let's go from there. So, yes, LE statements. Okay. There you are, DD. Welcome in, everybody. Good to have you, April. Bill says, hi, April. Alyssa, if it wasn't true, do you think the FBI would correct it? Honestly, Alyssa, if it wasn't true, yes, they would correct it. You know why they would correct it? Because they're not going to take something that is not true and basically sink. The ship is going to sink because they didn't do the homework, and they're going to take anybody's word other than their own. You know, it's that old saying, if I go down, it's going to be on my terms. I'm not going down on somebody else's terms. I'm going down on my terms. And that's how FBI really operates. They'll look at the notes, they'll look at all the information, but at the end of the day, they're going to, anything that looks iffy, they're going to do their research on it themselves because they want to make sure that they are spot on, right? That's what they do. But that's a very good question, and that's a very, very good point you're making. What's their take on this case? You know, in my opinion, Alyssa, my take from FBI, honestly, it might just, now this is an opinion, and I'm telling you straight out. In my opinion, my take is that the FBI is not sure what is happening. It's like they have to do their own evidence gathering because they're not going to take anybody's word for anything. The reason they've gotten this case is because there's been a failure or a lack of progress from Piedmont County Sheriff Office, right? So we don't know, but it would, in my opinion, it would be, do I think they have more than Piedmont County Sheriff's Office? Yes, because they got all the tools in the tool chest to use, cameras, videos, how to break things down, this, that, and the other. They got the resources. They've got the machinery. They got everything they need. Everything they need to try to solve this case. So do I think they have more information than Piedmont County Sheriff's Office? I think inevitably they're going to have a lot more information than Piedmont County Sheriff's Office. But would they correct it if they knew it was wrong? Absolutely. They're not gonna put their John Hancock, so to speak, on somebody else's work and take their word for it unless they're able to validate it. That's for sure. Good question. April, hi, Bill. Hi, everyone. Lisa, I believe Ellie has it because they couldn't cover up a statement like that since the video would be non-existent. It's easy to disprove. That is true. That's true. I can see that point. No doubt. Alyssa, live live meant like FBI come out and say to public, this wasn't true kind of thing. I don't think they would ever come out, Alyssa. I don't think I see what you're saying now. I don't think they would ever come out and say the Pima County Sheriff's Office and or Sheriff Nanos said a lie when he said X, Y, and Z. They're not going to do that. That's too much controversy. What they will say is if Sheriff Nanos said, okay, the family is cleared, like he did, right? If Sheriff Nanos said they are cleared, okay, and you hear the FBI say that they have now the case, they say no one's cleared. That's a way reading through the tea leaves that they're not buying it. That's not, they're not calling him out on it. They're just telling you how they see it. They're not saying he's lying. They're saying this is the fact. No one's cleared. It's a nice way of saying that's not going to fly. Does that answer the question, Alyssa? Because I think you understand where I'm going. Norma says, agree. Hello, April. Lisa says, Ellie would be indicted for perjury type behavior, immediately fired at Issa. Yes, yes. You got to remember, when you put that stamp that this happened like this and you are mischaracterizing what happened, and someone can prove that you knew it wasn't true and you still put it out there, yeah, there's going to be a lot of hell to pay. No doubt about it. Very good point. Hello, Lisa says, Norma. Bill says hello and waves to everybody. And Alyssa says, right. Yes. Okay, good deal. So now we know that this is where we're at. Cat finds stuff. Hypothetically situation. Welcome in, Cat. In a barnyard, a cow. Oh, come on, man. Jesus God. We ain't got time for silliness. So that's where that stands. Okay? So it is case to say that if Ellie said they have a video, we can take it because it's going to be their ass. But if the FBI refutes that and says we don't, hypothetically, if People County Sheriff's Office said we have a suspect, right, and you don't hear the FBI say that, and they come out and say we have no suspect, it would be fair to say there is no suspect. They're not going to say the sheriff's lying. They're not going to say they're wrong. They're just going to say we don't have a suspect. You follow me? Because it costs too much friction. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. No doubt about it. Go to somebody else's live if you want to be like that. No doubt. So that's the whole point. So now we know Ellie has stated they have this. Okay, so now let's move on from Nancy. Nancy is now either she's at Annie's and Tommaso's and got dropped off, or she never got dropped off because she never got picked up by the Uber driver. But we know the Uber driver and law enforcement already said yes, she was dropped off. Okay, so we're gonna take that as a yes because they stated that, and perjury is gonna bring them down. Okay, doesn't mean that we don't think outside the box and think, what if she didn't? Oh no, that's where our opinions come in. We can still say, man, I don't think, just like Song earlier was saying, I don't think an Uber picked her up. It's very possible. But that's where our opinions come in. You follow me? We're not going to make it factual. We're going to make it that it happened because law enforcement said so, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the right to say, I just don't buy that. So now that's when you dig deeper to figure out to justify your claim. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, everybody? I'm trying to go deep, but I'm trying to keep it as easy as possible to understand. So for all sake of purposes, she's at Annie and Tommaso's house. Now, the next big question. The sheriff says that they brought Tommaso. First he said the family took her home and saw her inside her house. Now, did they just see her with their eyes as she walked in her house? Or did they actually walk her up to her house and walk in with her, kind of checked everything out, make sure everything was good? Or does he even know? Because later he said, when asked, Tommaso took her home. It wasn't now family, it was Tommaso. Okay, now here's the kicker on that. If Tommaso stated he took her home, then he's putting himself in that line of fire. Okay? And what I mean by that is that he is putting himself at a very bad situation if they can't prove that he took her home. Because everything's going to come down on him, literally, like it has, if we all noticed, everything's going to come down at him as being the last person to see Nancy alive. Because in all fairness, he put himself in that position by saying, yes, I took her home. But you see the confusion there? On one hand, you got Nano saying the family saw her in the house. Saw, walked, the saw me took her in the house. And I don't think it's by accident that he used those words, everybody. It's not by accident that Nanos uses these type of words that are open-ended. That I will say. Bill says they must have interviewed the Uber driver thoroughly, right, DD? Yeah, if they're going to claim that the Uber driver dropped her off at Nancy's, they're going to have to know that. Because here's what you guys got to remember. At some point, this is all going to come to a head, whether it's recovering the remains of Nancy, whether it's charging somebody, or whether it's going to court because they charge somebody. All this information is going to come out. And they're going to have to explain exactly why they made those comments. It's not like they can make them now and then it goes to court when they finally charge somebody and then say, well, what did you mean by this? How did you know you had this person was the person that you said did this? You said Tommaso took her home. You first said the family took her home. Then you said they saw her into the home. And then you said Tommaso took her home. So where did you get your idea from? You know? Well, because Tommaso said so. Okay. You said the Uber driver, you had a video. It was never given to the defense attorney. Where's the video? Oh, well, I was told. That doesn't fly. You follow me? All this is going to come out. So anybody who is trying to, and I mean in this realm, anybody in law enforcement who is trying to throw shade and throw different views, and they think that this is all that's going to ever happen, it's not. It's going to go to court eventually. Someone's going to get charged. And when that happens, all that information, they're going to go back and look at and pick apart everything that everybody said as far as law enforcement. And if there's inconsistencies in what they said, or they can't validate those, why they said that, then that person's probably going to walk. Right? Because the only thing you have is your credibility in law enforcement. That's it. That's it. So let's move on. But you're right, Bill. Absolutely. Janice, hey, I caught you live laughing out loud. Good to have you, Janice. Hi, everyone. April, hello, Janice. Janice, wait, did you say Nano saw Nancy in the house? No, 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 no. What I said was that Nano said that at first he said that the family saw Nancy into the house. And what I said was, did they see her with their eyes? Did he mean when they saw her that they walked her into the house? You know how somebody uses that verbiage? Or did they actually just drop her off and say, yeah, we saw her there? Because that's a very open-ended question or a comment to say. And it's not by accident. No, I didn't say that. I'm saying what he said at first and then later changed it to, yes, Tommaso dropped her off. You follow me? Uber would have a video. I don't know because never was in one. No, they'd have to have a video for their purposes of going ahead and liability issues. I would almost guarantee they would have to have a video for their own protection. And I mean like somebody accusing them of doing something to this person or doing something to a share rider, a rider. I would think they would definitely have to have one. I never been in an Uber, but I would tell you that doing deliveries and stuff, you always want to have something running because you want to be able to protect yourself. Janice says Uber does have cameras. April, okay, thanks. Bill, no video from Uber dash cam, just saying. No video from we don't know that. We don't know that. The LE has stated that there's video. LE said that there was video. Okay? And that's what Paige was talking earlier. We just didn't see it. But here's the thing, if LE's lying when this all comes out, those people who made that comment of law enforcement who said, yes, we have video that the Uber driver went ahead and dropped her off, but they can't produce it, they're going to twist themselves like a pretzel because it's all going to come out. Because they're going to go through that like a fine comb, right? And what all you have in your side is the fact that all you have is your credibility. Janet says, or they are supposed to anyway. I've been in a few and they always have cameras. Thanks for that, Janice. Appreciate that. Those cams are for the protection of the driver. It is supposed to be mandated. They have one. Thank you, Janice. Appreciate that. According to Tommaso, no, he didn't walk her in. He watched her go into the garage, but I don't trust him. Okay. And that's fine. Because we're trying to separate the facts, literally the facts, from the opinions, theories. It's okay to have opinions, but I mean, you can't call something a fact if it's not true, right? If we don't have any proof. So, yes, if Tommaso stated that, did anybody else hear that? That Tommaso stated that he watched her go into the garage? Because if he did, then he's putting himself, once again, in that line of fire. You follow me? He's putting himself in that line of fire. Because here's the thing. Right now, this is why Tommaso's dealing with everything. Is because they can't show anything that he dropped he dropped Nancy off. There's no video. There's no video that we see. There's no video that's going to the house. There's nothing. Like if you would have seen a neighbor's house and they had a video cam, you would say, "Oh, there's this car right there. This is him right here. He's dropping her off." We don't have that. And that's why Tommaso is taking a big hit right now because they can't prove that he did. Now, If the sheriff has that information, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and if Tommaso said, yes, I took her home, but there is nothing to validate it, then he is going to be the person that put himself in the line of fire, like he said, that he was the one that took her to her home and he watched her get out. You follow me? He becomes that main piece, and it's only him that's going to sink himself. You follow me? Bill, there's so many things we're not sure exactly, Bill. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to see. There is a lot of things that we don't really know. And then, because we only know a little bit of the facts, a little bit. And yet, by these own people that are saying these things, like Tommaso, like Nanos, they're going to have to verify this. I'm telling you, it's going to come out sooner or later. And when this person gets charged, some person's going to get charged. They're going to have to show the proof. The proof is in the pudding, as they would say. You're going to have to show it. Janice, every ride I have ever used, Lyft, Uber, and one more, tell me they have cams. There you go. So it would be safe to say that they would have cams because of their own safety to themselves, so they don't get basically, for a better lack of words, charged for anything wrongdoing. How do you know TC said he walked her in? I don't know. He did. I have no idea. What Janice said was that TC stated he did not walk her in, that he saw her go in through the garage. That's what Janet just said. That's why I asked the question, did anybody else hear that? Janice, where did you hear that? Where did you see that? That Tommaso had claimed that he had watched her with his eyes go into the garage. Right, we haven't seen it. That is correct. Janice, hi Lisa. It was something I had heard from one of the videos. It is possible it's something someone surmised. In other words, someone just put out there. So we don't really know if Tommaso even walked her up or if he just watched her with his eyeballs. What we do know is that Nano said they saw her to her home. They saw her inside her home. Okay? And if I'm getting that a little twisted, that's what Nano said. That the family saw her into her home. Well, what does that really mean? You know what I'm saying? Because that's so open ended. So it would be fair to say, what did you mean by that? And I think there was even a question that was brought up and said, did they walk her in the house? They took her. They were in the house. Yes, and then he hurried up and said yes, yes, which I think he's full of shit. Okay, because when he responded to that question from that reporter that asked him that, did they see her into the house? Yes, yes, yes. He hurried up and kind of snapped. Yes, yes, like that. Yeah, yeah, that's what happened. But that yeah that he said is going to bite him in the ass if that never happened. You follow me? You follow me, right? Why can't the public see this part? Makes no sense to me, Bill. I don't know because it's not going to jeopardize the case. All it's going to do is literally clear out the noise and all that minutia that's in the middle. It's going to answer a lot of things and push a lot of things out, so we're not being clouded our mind by what is happening. Janice, I could have misunderstood it though. So let's say, for all sake of purposes, Paige, let's say that Nano said the family saw her into the house, and when that reporter, and I heard this when the reporter asked him, "You mean they went into the house?" and he said, "Yes, yes." He did say that. So we're going to take it at Nano's word, not so much Tommaso's. We're going to take it at Nano's because he is law enforcement, right? And at the end of the day, he's going to have to show the proof in the pudding. right? Fair enough? Good point, Paige. Good point. So it's only hearsay from rumors. Right. That is correct. Yuli. Yuli said hi. How you doing, Yuli? Janet says right. Hearsay. Absolutely. Hello, Yuli. Lisa, okay, thanks. And no, I don't believe TC said it. Well, that's fine. At this point, we're going with what Nano said. That's what Nano said. That they saw the family saw her into the home, and that reporter said, "What you mean they went into the home with her?" And he said, "Yes, yes." Remember, he said that. He goes, "Yes, yes." Like yeah, like he just wanted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, enough. You follow me? That's what his. That's how he responded. Which that's gonna fall on his ass if he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, which I do believe he's full of shit, personally. I think everything he does is calculated. I don't think he's a very, just to be honest, I don't think he's, I don't even want to say this because it wouldn't be right. I just don't think he said it. I think he said it just to say it to shut the reporter up because she was asking a bunch of questions in a row. And I think he said it just to shut her up without realizing the magnitude of what he was saying. He wasn't thinking. Okay? That's the best way to put it, I guess. It was said he took her home. So I'm just going by. No, you're fine, Janice. You're fine. You're going by that. But I said, he said it. I don't think I believe him right now. No, and the fact of the matter is, Nanos did say they family saw her into the house. That he did say. The one thing he left out was he didn't specify what saw means to him. Because some people will say, "Yeah, I saw mom in the house," and they'll say, "Yeah, I saw mom in the house through the window." They didn't say the window; they just said, "Yeah, I saw mom in the house." And then some people would say, "I saw mom in the house," like I took mom to her home. People use that verbiage, and I think this is not by accident that he chose those type of words. Because in a case like this, you want to be specific, right? We can't believe hearsay, in my opinion, for a good investigation. That is correct. Janice, that is true, Lisa. That's for me. You you do you. No, no, no. Paige, I don't know if you follow, but no, I agree with what you're saying. You're right. You're right. I don't know if I'm conveying this correctly or not. We're just going with what Nano stated. Okay, we're not going what Janice said that Tommaso said he walked her into the house. We're not going with that. We're going what Nano stated. Nano stated the family saw her into the house. The key is what does saw mean? Because that was even asked on other uh, peers, people who have done law enforcement work that have brought up that what does that really mean? Because you can use that in many different ways. So yeah, that's you're fine. There's no nothing there. Janice, there is so much that has been said that it's hard to keep sometimes. Trust me, I don't misunderstand some things. No doubt. Right. But Janice just clarified it, Paige. Janice just clarified it that it was probably something she was heard that was surmised, which means basically that somebody could have just said it as in it could have happened that way. So yeah, we're done with that one. I should say, in my opinion, or something, but for some reason I thought it had been stated in the timeline for her. I think I may have missed it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you a lot. April, we don't even know she went home. No proof of anything in that case. That's exactly true. We don't even know she went home. Because I'm still thinking that I see this is my opinion. I'm thinking There's no evidence that they took her home. And yet, okay, law enforcement said they took her home. That's all going to come out. At some point, when it's all said and done, all this is going to come out. In law enforcement, you have to have facts, right? You have to have facts. You cannot have opinions. Opinions are for us, okay? Opinions are for us to think what we think might have happened, suggestions, ideas. In law enforcement, you can't, opinions don't fly. You have to have facts. Because at some point when this goes to court, it's not opinions that's going to make a difference. It's going to be the facts. All about the facts. So that's what I'm saying. Nanos, if he says all this stuff that he's saying and we say, well, he's law enforcement, this is what he said, we can still have our opinions to say, I don't buy that one freaking bit. But at the end of the day, Nanos is the one that's going to pay the price because he's the one that made that claim, right? He's the one that made that decision to say that. Just because you're a sheriff doesn't mean you can say whatever you want and not be held accountable. That is a fact. A fact. Yes, we're trying to determine fact from fiction. But when I say we can still have an opinion, you can still disagree with what this person is saying, because at the end of the day, that person, that law enforcement officer, he's going to pay that price because he's going to have to justify it in court. And if he's lying, then that's going to be on him. You follow me? But we can't really say fact that Nanos, what he meant by the family saw her into the house, because saw means different to a lot of people. You follow me? So because the word saw, it means literally you saw her into the house. You saw her. Or it means you saw her into the house. You took her to the house. Some people use that terminology. He doesn't say anything by accident. He does watch what he says, in my opinion. He does watch what he says. And he leaves it so that it's so vague, right? It's so bland. But yes, to answer your question, yes, Paige. Janice, yes, and I appreciate the better explanation things. Just makes a little bit more sense. And it helps us all kind of see where we're all at. Alyssa says, that's how I felt too when I heard Nano say that. April, the blood was hers and there was a perp. That's about it. Laugh it out. No doubt. The blood was hers. We don't know when it got there. We don't know when it was there, when it happened. Right? We don't know when it happened that her blood was there, but it was there. That is her blood. That the fact that that's her blood DNA, yes, that's a fact. But that's all we know, is that the blood was there. We don't know how it got there. We don't know if she cut herself by accident, if she ran into a rose bush, if she just hit the side of the house and she got all bloody because she's on blood thinners. We don't know. But that blood is a fact that does belong to her because they tested it. Mary, hey, oh, good to have you, Mary. Janice, exactly, Nanos has the burden of proof for this to go to trial if they get a sus. That is correct. And that's what I'm saying, literally. No doubt. Janice says, hi, Mary. Julie says he's guilty. No doubt. I think a lot of people feel that way. Okay, Dodd says that Nanos did confirm that TC did say he walked her inside. He did. He did say that because the reporter asked him again, are you saying that the family walked her in? And he goes, yeah, yes. Remember that? If that's true, then I believe that TC said it. I mean, in my opinion, that's confirmation that TC did say it. Well, no, because it wasn't TC necessarily that said it. We don't know if TC said it. It could have been just surmise. It could have been just an opinion that someone said, well, I think she, Any normal person would have walked their mother-in-law into the house, because I've heard that being said as well. But Nanos was asked, if you go look at, I think it was the first or second interview he did. I think it was actually the first interview he did outside that house when he said the reporter asked him, did they walk? Did they? Well, he said the family saw her into the house, and the lady wearing, I believe she was wearing red, if I'm not mistaken. I remember the color. She said, "Do you mean the family took her inside the house?" Yes, yes. He said that. If you go look back, you should see that. And then she asked another question, and it was like he had enough, you know? So he said it. That I do know. As far as Tommaso, I've never heard him say that. Doesn't mean he didn't say it, I just never heard it. They provided to the public, they only have the times of the garage door opening and closing. Yes, that doesn't prove she went inside alone. That is true. That is very true. Paige, who else believes TC confirmed with Ellie that TC walked Nancy inside? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe Nanos was telling the truth when he said that. Matter of fact, he said it like real hastily, and he said it real fast, like to shut the reporter up. When she asked, "Are you saying they walked her inside her home?" And he said, "Yes, yes." So I've never heard TC say that. Do I think TC walked her in? No, I don't. I don't believe he did. I'm not saying he didn't. It's just my opinion. I don't believe he did. And I haven't heard anybody say that other than Nanos. Anybody else got a take? Lowbird, who? Lowbird, we don't even know if it's a crime. Yes, we're not even there yet, but yes, you're right, Lowbird. We just know she's missing. Yes. Fan. Nano was saying and reading what the family gave him. Hey, devil dogs. You're right. You're right. Because he even stated that. I don't do well with I'm gonna give you the something about I'm gonna give you the uh how do you word it? The families uh something he said something about that the basically that he's gonna give you from the family's uh uh side, their statements, if you will, or something to that effect. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. But he said that I don't do well. I'm going to give you the family. The family wants me to read their script or something to that effect. And he says, I don't do well with scripts. Remember he said that? I don't do well with scripts. Bill said, don't bullshit people, Sheriff. It's misleading unless that isn't intention. That is very true, Bill. Hey, fan, says Lisa. Who knows when the video was taken, Lowbird? Who knows when the video was taken? Which video you're talking about, Lowbird? Facts are videos and sworn statements and witnesses. Yes, Facts are videos and a sworn statement. That's absolutely correct. I mean, you can't get any more than having videos. No doubt about it. Janice, in my opinion, the blood, if that is all there is on the porch, could have been staged. Now, see, we don't know that, and that's an opinion, and that's a very good opinion. A lot of people have claimed that, but we don't know that, so that would definitely be an opinion, absolutely. And no one, the only thing they've stated about that blood is that it was Nancy's. They didn't never stated how that blood got there. They didn't say when it got there. They just said it does belong to Nancy. I am wondering, and again, my opinion, did they not state it was a clean crime scene? I think they said something about it was everything was really like what the word they use, everybody. It was very immaculate. It was very, everything was like, well, I forgot what word it is, but basically everything looked plain as day, looked good. Everything looked fine. They didn't look like there was any hustling or bustling, and I'm using those words. Like there wasn't any fighting or anything going on, lamps knocked over and all this type of thing. That's what I got out of it. Like the perp made it look as if she was there and taken. Yes. Fan says, hey, Lisa Lowbird, the video Google extraction does come with metadata. Yes, I'm assuming. And yes, that video that was taken came from Google from what they were able to capture from that Nest camera. Yes, that is correct. Janice, vague information. Very. When you really parse it, it's so vague. It is so vague. Even the facts are kind of like very vague. Paige, I'm here to gather information. All right, Paige, you keep gathering. We're all gathering information here. Lowbird, the only reason they have a time is because the video disconnected. The video doesn't have metadata. Okay, so what's your point? What's your point, Lowbird? Camera disconnected. I mean, yes, the video disconnected. Yes, but it runs on battery. Remember, it gives you like 45 seconds or something like that. I think it's like 45 seconds of record time. So they were able to get that short footage in 45 seconds. Am I right, or am I thinking of something else? Am I off? Fill me in, everybody, because I could be wrong. I may be wrong, but you all can correct me if and when this goes to trial based on the little circumstantial evidence they claim so far. Lowbird. Yes, he said it. The family went into the house. Thank you. Appreciate that, Lowbird. Appreciate that. Yeah, I thought he said that. The family went into the house. There you go. So do we believe TC, says Paige, said it or not? I don't think he said it. I haven't heard TC ever making that comment. And even earlier, Janice said that it was probably something that she heard that was surmised, which basically just means they just put it out there that he could have done this. That's basically what surmise is. So I don't think TC said it, but whether he said it or not, the burden goes to Nanos because Nanos said it, and he's the sheriff, right? So his ass is going to be in a sling if he can't justify why he said that, and they can come out later and prove that that didn't happen. Are we good, everybody? She left the phone behind, was said, but we haven't heard anything to be fact to relate to the phone. That is true. I've said that in the last live. We don't know who put that phone there because you had Annie and Tommaso that was there before anybody, right? And the last place she was at supposedly was Annie and Tommaso's. So we don't know who took the phone. Is it possible? Once again, this is just an opinion. Is it possible that she took the phone and her purse with her when she went on the Uber, and then when she came back, she forgot the phone, or that was the last thing on their mind was that her phone was left behind, so they brought it back, and we don't know that. We don't know that. There's nothing saying that she left that phone there or that somebody put the phone there, along with her hearing aids and everything else. Lowbird, Janice, there's literally nothing of evidentiary value. They would have had it by now. Pretty good. That's about, yeah, that makes sense, Lowbird. Hearsay would only be permissible if the person telling it to someone else is deceased or unable to tell it themselves. Is that correct, Didi? To a certain extent. To a certain extent. It would have to be something that can be verified that was said. So, like, for example, if I went ahead and said, you know, I tell I tell Jody that I saw that car run over that person, okay? Right? And I tell Jody it was a green Malibu, right? And then Jody sees that same green Malibu with what I described to her, and she gives that to the cops. Yes, it's hearsay, but there's evidence corroborating the color of the car, maybe the description of the person, and it all fits that. It just depends on what comes with it. You know what I mean? Because normally, if everybody always thinks that, well, hearsay doesn't mean anything, and it really doesn't in the big grand scheme of things. But putting it together with other evidence, other claims, specific claims, they go and they look at the guy and he's wearing the same outfit, and they go look at the guy and maybe he has the same ball cap on. Next thing you know, you go, that's the guy. You know what I mean? So it all corroborates together. So it's all a circumstantial evidence. Yes, it's all a part of circumstantial evidence. The more detail you got, the more solid it's going to be. The more detail you got, the more helpful it's going to be on something like that. Paige, okay, thank you, dog. I appreciate the value of your opinion, no doubt. I think it is possible, Paige. April, we are only left with our opinions, in my opinion. Opinions, in my opinion. No, you're right. I mean, because we're not getting a lot of facts. When we sit down and we have this discussion and we talk about it in this way, it kind of, a lot of stuff really becomes clear. And then you can see who's making all those claims. Is it, and this is hypothetical, is it Tommaso? Is it Annie? Is it Kaleha? Is it LD? Is it this? Is it that? Or is it Nanos? And then you start looking where all those claims are being made. And ironically, it seems to all be coming from Nanos. I mean, is that by accident? From the garage, Bill says, on it's all speculation except for blood, right, stains, and the brief video at the front door. Correct. That is correct. Lisa says, I was asking for your opinions. Uh, Everybody, what is your all's opinions? Do you think Tommaso made the comment that he walked her to the house or not? One for yes, two for no. Let's hear it, everybody. What is your opinions? Scripted. Hey, Lisa. I didn't hear that, but that would be bad things to say, especially for the sheriff. Yay, M. Hey, DD, Marion. Hey, what's going on, Marion? Feel better soon, Mary says Paige. Thank you, Lisa. Nothing had been moved, I believe, was what was said. Something to that effect. We are all now learning the doors were propped open with planters. So something was moved. Nancy didn't move them. We don't know, but most likely not, depending on how heavy they were. Yes. April says, I don't believe anything Tommaso would have said, in my opinion. Bill, take a guess, DD. What's the biggest thing info being held back? Oh God. There's a lot that is being held back. The call of the 911 call that was made by Annie. Why is that being held back? Was it because there wasn't a sense of urgency when she called 911? Was it because her demeanor didn't fit how somebody would be responding when their mom went missing or was possibly taken or was possibly kidnapped? Would it be because of the fact that people would have been able to shred that apart and said this woman is not acting, this daughter is not acting like she gave a 2 cents about her mom because of how she responded? So the 911 call is definitely for sure. The second thing that I would say that doesn't make sense on why they're not releasing is any video that would show if 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 Nancy was taken out of that house, and because here's the thing. Let me give you an example, and I'm getting there. You remember when at the beginning when Savannah first did her interview with Hoda, what did she say? She said she was telling Hoda, Mom was taken from her bed without her shoes. She was begging. She was begging. Okay. Now ask yourself, how does Savannah know she was begging? How does Savannah know she didn't take her shoes? So then the question becomes, was it so graphic of what they did to her that they had to show Savannah this piece to get her to see that, yes, this is what we're able to capture. We don't want to put it out there. This is what happened. Is it possible? Yes. So why wouldn't you show it? Else would Savannah know that her mom was begging not for them not to do this? How does Savannah know that? I mean, is she just misspeaking? Is she just speaking out of her ass? Is she just speaking from pain that she's going through? Or did they tell her and did they show her that this is what happened to your mom? We just can't release it to everybody. You know what I mean? So the reason I say that for is because Savannah did say that her mom was begging for them not to do this. Well, how do we know she was begging? That's the question right there. How do we know? So somewhere, somehow, Savannah got that information. Why are they not releasing it? If Savannah got it, how come the people are not being, not necessarily seeing the video, but why not say, we have video that we just cannot show you at this moment because it is too graphic. But yes, Nancy was taken by force. Nancy was for a better lack of words, treated like an animal or whatever the case may be. Whatever analogy they want to put in there. That's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that. So the idea that they didn't say that, the idea that they can't tell you which way they came in, right? The reporter asked them, "Well, do you know which way they came into the front or the back?" We're not going there. We're not talking about. Well, why not? Why is that so hard? I mean, what does that have to do with the price of rice in China? Probably high, but what does that have to do with that? What does that have to do with the case? They came in through the front or they came in through the back. If you know, why are you just not saying it? Why say the comment, we're not going to talk about that? So we don't know if they came in. We're not having that discussion. Because that's what he said, Nano said. I mean, I could go on and on, Bill, in all honesty. There's so many things that there's just not one nugget, you know? So there's so many things that they could have said that wouldn't have compromised the case, and yet still would have cleared up some of that minutia. It would have cleared up some of those people that we were talking about. It would have definitely cleared it up to where you don't have that much, except what's in your circle. In your circle, you don't have that much, so you can focus on that. But he didn't do that. That's the best way I can answer that, my friend. Fan, feel better, Marianne. Lowbird, I don't believe the perp removed the camera with uh, flimsy twigs. If that's possible, then Ness would be out of business. Marianne, thank you. Allergies are kicking my butt. Hope you feel better. Give a like and subscribe if you haven't, please. Join, be a devil pup, and help everybody become smarter. April, Marianne, same here. Pollen is awful in PA. Janice, Marianne, do you take Sertazine or Chlor-Tabs? Those both work pretty good for certain allergies. Janice, our honeysuckles are in full bloom. Marianne, no, don't even been taking Benadryl, but nothing is helping right now. Janice, okay, thank you for the clarification. Janice, Marianne, if you could try Sertazine. Marianne, thank you, Janice. Janice, or the Chlorotabs. You are very welcome. April, I am in New Jersey. Janice, so far, Nanos is only talking when he wants to. And apparently, they don't want anyone talking. That is just something I heard. Makes sense to me because he ain't talking. Janice says one. Lisa says one. Bill, don't know. Marianne, don't know. Paige, I think our verdict is we still don't know if TC actually walked. Yeah, I've never heard it, but you know, I could have just missed that. Absolutely. Laura Bird, no, Nano's just throwing the family under the bus. That's why he's talking. That's my opinion. Or verdict. Paige, I do believe there is video evidence of the Uber ride. Do you all have an opinion on it? I think there would have to be evidence of a video, in my opinion. I do think there would have to be evidence. If not, that is a big, big black eye for Nanos. Because to say, if he said that, to say they had evidence from the camera and they don't have evidence, man, that's like a dagger. That's literally like from the get go, you're screwed. So I will say, do I believe there is a video evidence? I would say yeah. I would say yes because if Nano said yes and he don't have it, he is screwed. Janice, Lisa, I agree. Yes, thank you. I have the video of the Uber. April, I think they have video of the Uber. Lowbird, Savannah is talking out of her A. Janice, be right back. Lisa, thank you, everyone. I appreciate and value your opinions and inputs. Mary, yep, they told her. April, either way, video would show she was picked up or she wasn't on the video. No doubt. Ellie said video showed it. Okay. She has to say that, Lowbird says. She has to say that, meaning I believe Savannah had to say that. I think that's what you're talking about, Lowbird. I thought this case would be solved within a week or so after it happened. Yeah, I feel you. Norma, yes, DD, agree. Paige, if we're more specific in our comments, God will be able to understand us better when he reads them after the fact. Thank you. Norma, Bill, I did too. Back to my confused corner because I don't know what to think anymore. Lowbird, Nanos refused to say it was forced entry or not. Yes, it's another one. Was it forced entry or not? We're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about it. Unreal. Alyssa, okay, where are we at? Uber, then Tommy drop off. That's where I left off before I had to clean up at work. So where we're at now is we believe there's a video, because if there's not, it's going to be Nanos' ass for saying that there was a video. That that Uber had a video showing Nancy in the car because he supposedly dropped her off at Tommaso's and Annie's house, and also that whether or not Tommaso walked Nancy in the house, he said it was believed that he might have said he walked into the house, and we're now at the point where we're going, I didn't hear it. It could have been something where it was just surmised. In other words, just something that somebody tried to point at that direction. Bill says, thanks, DD. You welcome. Marianne, we were doing our best to unscramble everything, but we need more eyes and ears. Norma, Marianne, I've been in the corner. There is so much going through my mind. Lisa, help make us smarter. Agree. Bill says agree, Marianne. Bill, you, Norma. Norma said all the questions and no answers. Fan, why do we know the security camera on the casita was disabled, crushed before Nancy came back home? So is just his word? It's a good point, Fan. Good point. Norma, you're welcome, Bill, and a hello. Bill, Norma, April. Keep thinking though. He already has perjury charges in his career, so how can we anyone believe him? So true, April. So true. Didi, I don't watch the live streamers. They go on too late. Are they searching in the evening? Put me in that spot every time. I think some do go searching. I know AJ goes searching. I know when Jim goes rides and search. Um, and I know that the other streamers have gone in different times. You know, they have gone searching at different times. Lately, I think there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more call-ins. You know, talking to people on call-in phones. Um, every now and then, maybe trying to do a demonstration on how something could have happened, like the other night. By the way, I did watch that video of Juanita the other night, and I'll just leave it at no comment. But yeah, there's a lot of different things. So are they still searching? There's a couple that are still out there. Like I said, AJ found a bone. He found a femur bone, a human femur bone. Um, Jim goes rides, rides his motorcycle, his dirt bike through all that desert. I've seen Martha Shark a few times. I've seen Dad's gone out there. I've seen Nico go out there. So I mean, but here lately, I think it's been more just conversation. I think that'd be fair to say. Wouldn't you all think that's fair to say? It's been more conversation. Just my opinion. Favorite part of walking up is hitting the like button, everybody, says Arizona Desert Walker. Thank you for being here. Hi, Arizona, Marianne. Yes, I do think there was a video and Ellie spoke to the Uber driver. There you go, Marianne. Alyssa, Arizona, Bill, I appreciate you, DD, and everyone. See you next time. You got it, Bill. Thank you for being here. Arizona, D Dog in the house. Rough, rough. Thank you, Arizona. April, thanks, Bill. Have a great day. Norma, okay, Bill. Have a blessed day. Arizona Walker, Lisa, howdy, howdy. Been belly laughing today. Left good. Felt good. Lisa, that's wonderful to hear, Arizona. Cool beans. Norma, okay, DD, thank you. Arizona, Desert Walker, Lisa Page, belly laughing. Titans the core. Love it. Fan, we need answers. Justice for Nancy. Amen. Marianne, no. AJ, Righteous Monkey, Nick, Mark, and DJL go searching, but right now it's too hot. So it's probably more conversation, right, Marianne? I would assume it's probably conversation. Arizona, Desert Walker, Alyssa, Norma, some just sitting around in front of Nancy's making noise and eating, no names mentioned. Yeah. Norma, what I catch on other live streamers replaying their live streams. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's what you see. You're not wrong. So let's get back to where we're at. So now we are at the point of Tommaso dropping off Nancy, right? That's where we left off? Correct, Marianne. Correct. And I did say AJ went. I did say Mark went, and I said say DGL went. I just they're not as frequent as it used to be. But you're right. Norma, yes, Marianne, I know they go. Yes, Dee Dee, says April. Alyssa, yes, I believe that's where we left off. Thank you. So now we know that where we stand on that. Where we left off and the Uber. Thank you. So now, fact, Annie went ahead and got a call from the church ladies, correct? And they said it was at 11 o'clock when she got the call stating that her mom wasn't viewing or wasn't there at the viewing of the church services. Arizona, I put on all the live streams though. AI Dog is the most freedom of speech, and I tightly involved to most all in the chat. He wins that trophy for most interactive for we the people. Amen, Arizona. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you. So now we have the ladies of the church call Nancy, right? And they tell her, or not Nancy, I'm sorry. Well, they did call Nancy. They got no answer. So they ended up calling, because that's what they stated. And then they ended up calling uh, Annie to let her know that her mom didn't show up for the live stream. And at that point, and so then what happened was Annie and Tommaso came over. They got the call at 11. They live 4 point some miles, but they say it takes them about 10 minutes because of the fact of all the curves and the ups and downs of the Catalina foothills. So they get there, we would say just an estimate, uh, 10 minutes after, maybe even 11, 12 minutes after, because, put your shoes on, whatever, and you go. So they get there, they're searching. Well, let me rephrase that. They get there and they start, apparently, according to Annie, calling for their mom, which that seems logical. They're looking for the mom. They're trying to figure out where she's at. Okay. They don't find her. They don't say, fact is, they don't say, Nanos doesn't say if they went through the front door or the back door. Okay. We can't get that answered because the good thing would be if they came to the front door and they said, if they said we went through the front door, if we knew that, then we would say, well, did they see the blood splatter on the front porch or the stoop? And if they didn't, then they obviously either went through the garage or went through the back gate that was open, right? So we don't know where they went in through. We just know that that kind of just got passed by, right? It just passed by. All they would say was that Annie and Tommaso got there. They were searching for their mom. They noticed that the back doors were open, that they were propped open by flower pots, that her stuff was still there, her phone, because they thought it was just a walk away, a person, just kind of like Neanderthals out of there, They thought it was a walk away at first, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that. But the big part of that is they never stated which way they came in. They never stated, they never asked, they never elaborated, being the Pima County Sheriff's Office and or the others. Well, they did no, Alyssa. They did say that they thought she was either carried medically away, and they also had stated that the deputies thought it was a walk away at the beginning. It was a walk away where she just kind of walked away, meandered away. But you're right. Annie stated, or it was said that Annie stated that it was. They thought medically that she had, the ambulance had taken her to the hospital. She having some illness or something went wrong, and that they just forgot to close the door, something to that effect. Some streamers have an Amazon wish list. Do you? If so, share the vitals so we can send the treats for you and all your time you spend couching it with us for Vita decent host. Thank you so much, Arizona. Oh, that's funny. I would love to be out there. I have stated so many times I would love to be out in Arizona just so that I can go ahead and throw my 2 cents into the mix. But everything happens for a reason, and the good Lord probably has a reason why I just can't get out there right at this moment. But I'm just saying, I would love to be out there. I would love to represent every one of you guys. No doubt in my mind. Alyssa says yes. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Not yet. You're right. Not yet. We will be going on some rides. No doubt about it. That's a fact. So, getting back, we know that that was a fact. Why they won't let us hear the 911 call, I have no idea. But when they got there, they searched, they looked, and they literally fact was it was about an hour to an hour and a half, maybe even close to 2 hours, depending on the time changes and all that, of when Annie finally called Savannah. That's a fact. Why she waited so long, I have no idea. That we don't know. April Nano said walk off, then family took who in the house, then T took her in the house. Oh my God, I can't. You're exactly right, April. You're exactly right. Dog has PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App in his channel description. Thank you very much. Appreciate that page. April, Arizona. So we know that it took her at least, fact, about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours to call Savannah. Why would you not call your sibling right away from the get go to say, hey, do you know where mom's at? Do you know if something happened to mom last night where they had to take her to the hospital? Do you have any ideas? Cameron, do you have any ideas? You know, why didn't she call? because she didn't call right away. Why? Now, we could probably say she was probably panicky. She was probably worried. She probably had a million things going through her head. I've heard other streamers say that you know she even thought that she was kidnapped at the beginning, which I've never heard that, but other streamers have said that. I just never heard that uh, Annie was saying that. But the idea is just the fact that why did she call her sister and her brother to see if they knew or heard anything about mom? Or just to tell them, hey, I don't know where mom's at. Why did they wait so long? Now, I get it. They were probably looking. They looked in the garage. They looked around the house. They maybe went down the street. They probably went to a neighbor's house, et cetera, et cetera. I get all that. But almost 50 some minutes, 56 minutes, and you're not going to do that. Like if I'm going in there, I'm moving frantically, I'm looking everywhere, nothing, 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 because time is of the essence, and I know that. And my mom is 84 years old, and I'm looking everywhere. I'm checking the garage, I'm checking the crawl spaces, I'm checking all these little things around the house, just in case mom stumbled and fell or something to that effect. But at some point, I'm like, oh shit, like this doesn't look good. And I'm making a phone call. Hey, sis, mom, she's not here. Do you know anything of where she, do you know if she would have, did you get a call? Mom got sick or went to the hospital or anything? Nothing. Instead, Annie does all this calling the hospitals. It's what she tells Savannah. She called the hospitals to see if mom was taken. At some point, the deputy who arrived there first had to, she didn't. They didn't get the call till 12:03. So the deputy probably didn't get there till like 12:07, 4 minutes later. And that's being generous. Maybe it was more than that. But why wouldn't you have called your siblings? Think about that for a minute. Why wouldn't you have called your siblings? It makes no sense. It just makes no damn sense for the life of me. Why? I mean, before I moved back to Ohio to take care of my mom so she didn't have to go to a nursing home, because that's why I came back. That's just a little tidbit for you guys. I came back home, gave up everything where I lived before, all my law enforcement career at that place or in that state, came back this way to make sure that my mom wasn't going to no nursing home, and took care of her until the good Lord took her. Okay? So, saying that, me and my sister, second youngest in the family, are very freaking close. Matter of fact, I got the call from her, and that's why I acted the way I did as far as coming back. So my question is, we would have called each other. Hey, I mean, we talk daily. I mean, often. Why would she have called her siblings on something like this? It's just puzzling. It just it doesn't I can't comprehend that. And I know we're all different, and I know there's a lot going on, but I just don't understand it. So we know it's a fact she called 911. We know it's a fact. Fan says, what if we could say they didn't go through the garage because that would be a timestamp? Good point. Very good point. No doubt about it. That's a very good point. We would have known, right? If they would have told us. They didn't say there was another stamp on that garage door. So it is fair to say they didn't go through the garage door because there would have been a timestamp. Or did they just not look far enough to see if there was another timestamp? Or were they just keeping that quiet? Wouldn't it have been easier for them just to say, well, we know that they didn't go through the garage door because there is no timestamp like there was when the garage first opened, when Tommaso first dropped her off, yada, yada, yada. Anything similar to that. I'm not saying it has to be exactly that way, but anything similar. That would, right away, that would squash that theory that somebody came into the garage, right? Because they could see how many times that garage door opened and closed, open and close, open and close. Very good point. No doubt about it, Fanflower. In my opinion, Annie and T got to the house at 11. A turned the blanket down on the bed, placed his slippers by the bed, and then propped the doors, then called 911. And that is very possible, Marianne. I don't doubt that could have happened. We don't know that happened, but hey, that's a very good probability right there. That's a very good opinion. In my opinion, that's a great opinion. Because I have thought that myself. Maybe put on maybe have some of those like surgical little booty things you put on your feet so that you don't leave any footprints anywhere. Those little blue things, you put them on, and then you go and you set everything up the way you want it. Maybe you put the phone back on top of the dresser or wherever it was at. You make everything look tidy. You prop the doors open so when the police arrive, they're going to see it open and they're going to say, "Oh my God, back doors are wide open. Did you guys?" No, we didn't open that. That's been like that. That's how we found it. Now the theory is, did she just walk away? Was she taken? Where was she taken? You know what I mean? It causes a lot of, now that could be misdirection or just confusion or just putting them away from that scene. Very true. I can be told around. No, that's just a very good opinion, though. That's a very good theory. I totally agree with that. That's very probable. Gotta go, everyone. Have a great day. Closing thoughts. Some should ask for the index log who requested the 911 calls. Is streamers, civilians, or media? Time for Scrabble, then swimming. Peace out, Arizona. Thank you for everything. God bless you, and thank you for bringing up everything you do. You make this a lot better, and you always help us become smarter as all of us. Thank you. April. April says, Cash App, Extreme Bay 8, Venmo, Double Dog, PayPal. There's the information. Don't feel obligated, anybody. This is all literally about bringing Nancy and just having the conversation with you guys. You guys are very important and you mean a lot. And I love having this conversation with you guys. No doubt about it. Marianne, they aren't that close. Yeah, I agree with that. But still, the one common denominator is that that's their mom. I mean, look, you can have different views of opinion with your siblings, right? But when it comes to mom, there's got to be where the buck stops here. Okay, there's got to be something that says, hey, this is the drawing point. Because now we're talking about mom. We're not talking about how I feel about you, you feel about me. We're talking about mom, right? You would think. Good point, but yeah, I just don't see it. Lisa, Arizona, okay, thank you and have fun. Blue's in the house. Good day, dog. Good to have you, Blue. Pay says, hi, Blue. Blue, hi, Lisa. Fan, S says, when A calls, she said it was chaos and the police was there. She was making all the chaos. Yeah, that's fair to say, Fan. I mean, it's fair to say. It's fair to say. I mean, yeah, that's a very good point. Who created the chaos? Who started this narrative? Who I mean, a lot of this really comes from, in all honesty, literally comes from Annie. I mean, there's no other way to put it. She's the biggest mouthpiece during this whole ordeal of Nancy. And what I mean by that is that she sets the tone, right? She sets the tone. She literally puts everything in motion. However that may be, right, wrong, or indifferent, she sets the tone. April, welcome in, Blue. Blue, thank you, April. Norma, welcome, Blue. Great to have you in our chat. Paige, everyone, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and become a member. stand out with a super chat. Ooh, raw, Simplify, everybody. Thank you, Paige. Norma, thank you, Arizona. Have a great day. Mary Ann with the Dap Dog. So, so now we know that. We know what was said. We know what was factual and what was opinion. Okay? But the opinions are really interesting here because they do fit the narrative. I mean, if A&T got there so early, why did they wait so long to make that phone call to Savannah? Could it have been something like this? This is just acting here, okay? This is just acting here. Oh, Tommaso, hey, we gotta call Savannah. Just we gotta think what we're gonna say. We gotta think of what we're gonna do. You got everything set up right. Everything's good to go. We gotta think. Let's think. We gotta calm down. Just relax. Relax, Annie. Relax. Just relax. It's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be just fine. I'm not saying that happened, but you get my drift. You get what I'm saying? They had to come down from that rush. And when you hit an emotion of a, for a better lack of words, of a flight or flight stage, the fight or flight stage, or you get to that emotion of your euphoria just woo hits to the roof. It takes a little bit of time to calm down, get your composure, and then deliver your points, right? Interesting. April, Annie was the closest physically to Nancy. I think Savannah was the closest emotionally, and I think Cameron checked in on her once in a while. That sounds very plausible, April, no doubt. Lisa with the dog dap. I do not trust Annie at all, says Lisa. No doubt. I mean, I can see why you would think that. I can see why people would feel that, to be honest. Thinking the police and detectives would have control and separated A&T. That's what should have been done, fan. I don't know if it was or not, but that's what should have been done. Literally. They should have separated those two from the beginning so to see what they could get. But of course, if Nanos is a good friend, why would they even attempt to do that? You know what I mean? Hey boss, boss, do you think I should go ahead and put them in separate rooms and talk to them and see what's going on? No, just take them to the room and just see what they know, what they can tell you. Don't pressure them. They're going through a lot. They're going through a lot. I mean, for God's sake, they don't even know where their mom's at. Doesn't that seem something Nanos would say? Not saying he said it, just my opinion. It's just a thought. Deep down, I think Annie unallied her mother. God, that is so. And I hate to even think that, Paige, but man, that's deep. No doubt. That is deep. And is it possible? Absolutely. Is it probable? Could be. Could be. No, I get you. Because even just thinking about that, I'm like, oh my God. Like, but then again, money does crazy things to people, right? Great point, fan. Paid. 100% fan. Interrogate Safely agreed. Well, you have to. If it's a crime, you have to go ahead and literally interrogate everybody separately. This is not a kumbaya thing. You are dealing with a case, you have to do that. Right, Paige. Lizzie Borden style, no doubt. Mary, I just can't believe it. It's true. If true, Lisa, I know it's just hard to believe. It's hard to believe. It's hard even to wrap your head around that. But yet, we hear parents that are burying their children in the backyard and then leaving for a vacation. We hear of people doing the most grotesque things, you know, going and taking a child at 10 years old, as early as 10 years old, and going ahead and trying to prep them to become, whatever they want them to be. Case in point in California with David Burke and Celeste Hernandez, you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. So the idea is we know this shit happens, right? Devil dog, kid grooves, kid gloves, no doubt. That's what it was. It was a kid gloves. Just talk to them and just they'll be okay. Just they're going through a lot, man. I know the family. They're good people. Oh, I can't even begin. It does happen, says Paige. Matricide, I think it's called. Yeah. I don't know what it's called, Paige, but yeah, it does happen. You're right. It really does. Why are you saying sorry to me, laughing out loud? It's not that far fetched. She could have set this all up, Lisa. That is very true. Very true. So now we got that part, right? So now we go to what else is really puzzling here. We haven't heard, like earlier brought up, we haven't heard about the garage doors being open anymore. Did they check for that? Okay. Did they? We heard that they were able to capture certain pictures and videos from the Nest camera. Obviously, the FBI did through Google. Is there anything else that the other cameras caught? There was like 9 to 11 cameras outside, right? And there was like X amount in the inside, according to Nanos. I think TC set up to cover up after Annie did the deed. Man, that is, yeah, it's possible. It is very possible. Oh no! Oh no! Said Marianne. Oh no! I mean, that's crazy, but it's very possible. Golly, you hear it on TV. Even like now, we hear it on TV. But when you really start analyzing this stuff, man, there's a lot of sick local people out there. So now we know that. We don't know which way the perps came in, through the front or through the back. Nanos, we know it's a fact that has stated he's not going to talk about that. They're not going to discuss it. What's the big deal? What's the harm? Because by knowing who, if they came to the front or the back, could actually tell you who is eliminated from that situation. You could parse out who had probably nothing to do with this or something to do with this. It could also explain, was the blood fresh? Was it a little bit, maybe a day old? Was it, I mean, it coagulates and it gets pretty dry pretty quick in Arizona. So what is it? Why would literally we say, you know, why? Why would you not tell us which way he came in? Faye said, oh no, oh no. I am not convinced the perp was a man on the porch. I don't care what they say, says April. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think it very well could be a female, no doubt. I think it could very well be a female. Um, the eyes, the eyebrows. Now, granted, the mustache. That's all could be colored in. You never know. The eyeliner, as some have suggested, it is very possible. Very possible. So then we go on from there. Now let's get into the idea of. I watched an interview. Somebody sent it to me, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody sent it to me, so forgive me for not remembering who it was. But it was something with somebody's channel called. I think it was called Crime Crunchies. Crunchies. Crime Crunchies. I hope I got said that right. Yeah, I think it's Crime Crunchies. And she has been a reporter for, I don't know, I think she said like 20, 27 years. And she was giving her take. And she has some pretty good points, really good points. And some points, I didn't buy, but doesn't mean that I have to buy. It's her point, you know? And, but she has some interesting little nuggets in there. If you get a chance, you might want to check it. It's the last episode she did. Um, the last one on all her episodes that I think she's done like five, 4 or 5. So the idea is there was some interesting stuff about it. Lisa Page says, okay, where we at here? I think maybe Cynthia sent it. I think you're right. I think it was Cynthia. You're right. It was Cynthia. Thank you. Thank you for that page. Cynthia sent that. Yes. And it was quite interesting. She did have some good takes, though. I will say that crime crunchies. Um, yeah, it was interesting. You just take a look at it when you get a chance. On Marianne, idea about the bed. What if they took the sheets and towels from cleanup to the house to wash them, then stays the house immaculately? I mean, it just, yeah, yeah, that's very probable. I mean, they had what? They had the whole rest of the night Saturday, all up until the rest of the night when they supposedly brought her back, all up until Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot of stuff that can be done in all that time. Marianne says, I've been saying a female for a while, but many people kept saying a male. It's very possible, in my opinion, fam. No doubt. Very possible. So, really, all the suspicious stuff that deals with that home really all happened within that first, what, 4 or 5 days? You know, what was the idea of Nano's fact releasing the house after 2 days back to the family and then coming back and taking the house back and going ahead and securing it with crime tape for evidence? What was that all about? Any ideas, anybody? Any takers? My mind is not set in a stone or already decided. I just have a main working theory. Yeah, that's like all of us, Paige, no doubt. What do you all think about the question I just proposed? What is your opinion on that? Why would Nanos literally release the house after 2 days to the family, only to take it back and then secure it and then gather information, gather evidence? Marianne, yeah, we all have a theory and it will change tomorrow. That's so true. I'm constantly trying to disprove my theory. Fan thinking the female is up in the left corner of the porch. The video is sliced to the female and then back to the male. Yes, M, it will. So let's get back to the question. What literally was Nanos thinking when he released the house after 2 days? Well, Paige says, I don't know. I don't know why, dog. No clue. Because here's the thing. Even if it's a walkaway person, even if it's a missing person, At some point, you have to know that there's blood at that front door. That's always a red sign. You have to know that there's two doors that are wide open, propped open with flower pots. Two doors. That's never a good sign with an 84-year-old lady living there. You would almost have to do a crime scene. Why would they have released the house in 2 days? You know what I think? A cover up, says Marianne. It's possible. Because that's fact. They released it after 2 hours, just like they went ahead and said, no more, no more searching. We're done in less than 48 hours. Weird also, now chains are up at Nancy's when streamers came back and they have no trespassing. From what I have seen, something is there they don't want seen or checked out, checked again, in my opinion. Very possible. Very possible. Yeah, last night I jumped on at the end of 857's channel and we got into a little discussion, just a little quick little tidbit. And he was saying that he was telling me about the chain on his live, and he was asking if it was possible that the city or the county did that. And I was telling him, well, that's if they did it on the driveway, that's property of Annie. They would have had to have the okay from the family in order to do that. They couldn't have just put up blockades of chain on someone's driveway without getting the approval from the family. So then the question becomes, why would the family even allow that? They know people are still out there. They have to know what kind of message that's sending to the people that are out there trying to figure out what happened to Nancy. So I was explaining to 857 that that's something that have to would be approved by the family or the estate holder or whoever's holding the power of attorney or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? That was crazy. They said T did it. They said T did it. They said T has seen something there and they don't seem or checked again. Oh, what do you mean by that, Marion? They said T did it. I'm trying, maybe I missed something. You know what I think? Cover up. They said T did it. Right, April. Crazy Hills cover up. No doubt, fan. Lisa, who said T did it? That's what I'm asking. Who said T did it, Marianne? Be more specific. Help me understand that. Who said T did it? April, six cops ignored a party with over 30 cars parked and drinking, but came to where streamers were in front of Nancy. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. I watched that video. They sure did. No doubt. Marianne, someone told a streamer that T put the chain up. Interesting. Well, here's my thinking. Now, this is just my thinking. What is a chain going to do? What is a chain really going to do in the big grand scheme of things, everybody? Someone told a streamer that T put the chain up. Lisa, that means nothing in my opinion, laughing out loud. Well, I mean, think about it. What does that say that T put the chains up? What is being prevented here? What is that? What is he saying by putting that chain up here? Don't come on my driveway. Don't come on Annie's driveway, or not Annie's, Nancy's driveway. I mean, no one was going on her driveway. No one was going on her property for the most part, other than to do the flower thing. So why would, if T really did this, and I don't know who did this, but if T did do this as it's being brought up, what are you trying? What message are you sending? We don't want your help, everybody. Get the hell out of here. We don't want nothing to do with you guys. We're closing our property off to every. Well, it's always been closed. So what message is T if he did do this? What is he trying to say? We don't want your help anymore. It's a symbolic gesture that he did that for whoever did that for a purpose, to let the streamers know something. Okay? It's a way to say we don't want your help. Leave. We're done. We're tired. Patty says, I mean, I don't believe that some random person said to an anonymous streamer. I mean, yeah, that's kind of like crazy, right? That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy to talk for anybody to tell a streamer, yeah, I think T did it. That's just so odd. No doubt. It just doesn't even sound right. I mean, think about it, really. I mean, it really doesn't sound. It does sound kind of odd. Somebody's gonna walk up to a streamer and say, "Hey, I think T did it." It just sounds really. I don't know. It just sounds really odd. Listen, I'll just stop asking questions and go about my life. It's fine. Listen, I'll just start asking questions and go about my life. I have no idea where's that coming from, Paige. I have no clue. Hey, DD and everyone, what's going on, Al? Good to have you. It's Lisa. It's fine. We are all clarified in the end. I'm not here to complain about nanos. I'm here to investigate, which means me asking legitimate questions. April, and you ask good questions, in my opinion. Every time I question someone, they get weird. Fact. So the idea, yeah, that is crazy about that chain that he put up. Like I said, I don't think anybody was going on there, right? I don't think anybody was going on that property anyway. To be honest, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I The only symbolic thing that that's saying is stay out. Well, everybody was staying out. Don't come in when no one was coming in. We don't want you. Leave. We have not. We don't want your help no more. Because we have heard, right, that everybody would always say, "Well, Savannah, the family asked for help. Savannah, she asked for help." Is this a way to say no? We don't want your help no more? Janice, sorry it took so long. I got sidetracked and started my dinner for tonight. It's all good. Patience, I don't know. April, I think we are throwing opinions out and it gets confusing sometimes. I don't think anyone means to offend each other. No, 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 no. It's not even about that. It's just frustrating because we're trying to figure something out that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, everybody. Everyone have a blessed evening, DD and Chad. Sounds good, Norma. Ridiculous, right, April? Last night, someone called the sheriff. 4 trucks came, said they were starting a fire and stuff. Ridiculous. Yes, April? Janice. Oh, Lisa, please don't feel that way. You are very good at asking questions and giving your opinions. I like the way we communicate with each other. Norma. Kay says bye, Norma. Bye, Lisa. Marianne zips her lip and April directly calls me out, but okay. Janice, may I say something? And this is not directed at any one person. April, what? Oh, I missed some stuff again last night. Then I didn't see that sheriff, but I left when Juice left. Things were getting a bit weird, in my opinion. What do you want to say, Janice? The floor is yours, Janice. What do you want to say? The YouTubers going out to Nancy's and just sitting in front of the house and doing nothing else. That is just wrong. Well, I can see your point. I can see your point. Are they planning going back again tonight or no? I think they are, L. I think they are. Every time the conversation moves towards an answer or a possible solution, someone gets defensive, in my opinion. Janice, I appreciate the ones who do take action and search fine. They are looking. I think that's under. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Not defensive, but I don't know, like gaslighting us. I have no idea what they are doing tonight. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think when you think about it. Um, I thought they said they were coming back out again tonight. I think as long as they don't bring negativity attention or getting loud or out of control or whatever, I think it's okay because they're bringing awareness. We're talking in circles. Well, if so, I apologize, Lisa. I'm just trying to keep the peace, but if that's how you feel, I can't change it. So let's get to another point here. The porch person, women, man or woman, the porch person, thinking they are not in town anymore, maybe Phoenix, but if they don't come over, they will have to get out and open it. It just makes them look more suspicious. True, true. Asking legitimate questions is not being peaceful. Let's get back to the topic, everybody. Let's get back to the topic here. The topic, trying to distinguish opinions from facts. All right. We have really much covered the beginning part. Okay. We have covered the beginning part. I'm off to make dinner. Have a great night, all, says Marianne. Have a great night, Marianne. So Janice says, I guess I'm just think if we're all searching, they actually doing something, bringing awareness is great. It keeps her case active and in the media. I don't have a problem with that. I see what you're saying. I understand. Thank you all being here. I am out for the night. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy the streamers. Enjoy what you guys do. I thank you all for being here. I thank all of you for going ahead and giving to this chat. Um, you guys are very important, and there's just a lot of different right now views and opinions and different things, and we just have to power through those things. That's how it works. We power through them. So with that being said, take care. Thank you, Al. Appreciate you. Lisa, appreciate you. All of the mods, appreciate you, past and present. April and Falls and everyone, Marianne. I appreciate every one of you that's in the lives because you guys are what makes the live. So for that, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I'll see you again tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow at 9 a.m. Remember, it's all common sense, everybody. Simplify.